Good afternoon, everyone. This is Duncan from McRae's Window Cleaning. I am happy to chat with you today. I'm starting with this video a series of information videos which I call How to Start a Window Cleaning Business in Australia. And that may be of quite a bit of interest to those who are thinking of getting into the industry here in Australia, because while there are a lot of videos on YouTube from Luke the Window Cleaner, Steve-O the Window Cleaner, Squeaky Clean Dave in England, window cleaning is different in each country, both in tax issues, finance issues, the type of buildings we service. So that's why I wanted to start this series on how to get a window cleaning business going here in Australia. So in this series, we're going to consider things like registration, insurances, getting set up with the government, equipment, marketing, those issues. But today in this opening video, I'd like to discuss with you, firstly, why are you starting window cleaning? And secondly, what type of business are you going to set up? So let's begin with the first aspect on why. Now that's important because it will impact how you go about operating your business. For example, is this business your full-time gig? Or is it just the side hustle where you're going to get a little bit of beer money for the weekend, a bit of play money, where you can take your wife out for dinner a bit more regularly? So we'll pick up a few clients on the side, go and do that Saturday morning. Hey, darling, we're going to dinner tonight. Well, you could do that. And I remember when I first started window cleaning back in the 90s, I had a firefighter doing some clients in the general area where I was working, and that was his side hustle. His beer money, his play money that helped him along. But it wasn't his serious business. Whereas for me, when I started, this was my full-time gig. This was what was going to support me, and this is the direction I was taking for an indefinite period of time. So you have to determine what is your motive. Why are you getting into business? And it's important because if you're going to do this full-time, you also have to have the attitude that this is a business I'm going to develop, and always have in the back of your mind that one day you're going to sell it. And that will determine how you develop your business. So that's the important attitude to have in the back of your mind. I've bought and sold businesses a number of times in the 23 years I've been in business, and in different locations around the East Coast, up and down the East Coast of Australia. But I always had in mind that one day I was going to sell this business, so I developed it accordingly. That's the attitude and mindset you have to have. So what is your motive in getting going? Is it just your side hustle, your beer money, your play money, so that you can go to the football a few more times in the season? Or is it this is your full-time gig? That's the first decision you have to come up with. So let's imagine now this is your full-time gig. This is what you want to develop. You're going to be a window cleaning operator that's going to be successful. I guess an important question here in Australia is, what type of business setup will you embark on? Will you pursue? Will you research? I can think of at least three that are different directions that you could take with your business. Firstly, you could buy a franchise. Now that's obviously going to cost a greater amount of money to set up, but it has some advantages. For example, there are James Home Services, which provide cleaning and window cleaning services. They're particularly in the state of Queensland. I think they also are in New South Wales. Jim's Window Cleaning is another. It's part of the Jim's franchise. Jim's Lawn Mowing, Jim's TV Antennas, Jim's Inspections, Jim's Pest Control. A friend of mine helped Jim, a real person, to set up the window cleaning model and set up the master franchise. But of course that takes a lot more investment. One advantage of a franchise model is that they do all the marketing. They do the advertising. Granted, you pay for it, but you don't have to be focused so much on the marketing. So that may be an aspect. And of course you get the signage on your vehicle and you get all of those aspects, but that's something you need to research. Is that the direction you want to take? Another area that you can take is to buy someone's business. So you get to know the window cleaners in the area that you're in the city that you live in, and try and find out if they know of someone who wants to get out of the industry. And maybe they've had enough of 10 years window cleaning and they'd like to sell their business, or they'd like to sell part of the business. Maybe it's the window cleaner who wants to now go into gutter cleaning and less window cleaning. So he would like to offload that. One business that I bought was from a friend of mine who wanted to go into pool cleaning swimming pools, but he couldn't do all of his window cleaning work. So he wanted to offload some clients. So I gladly obliged. And that gave me a foundation to develop and build a business in that city. So that's one angle. But you need to do some due diligence of someone from whom you're buying a business. You want to research that he's got a legitimate business, that it's registered, that his paperwork and his accounting is all up to speed. You want to actually go and work with him for a day or two just to see the clients so that he can see what kind of person you are who is potentially going to buy the business, and you can see what kind of business you're possibly going to invest in. So that's an important part of your research in buying a business outright. Now, what's the advantage of that? Well, you've got clients straight away. Instant clients, particularly if it's a commercial business where there's a route of commercial clients, you've got income happening from the first month. But one little caveat here, one little warning. I've done that 4 or 5 times in different cities, as I mentioned, Sydney, Brisbane, regional cities. And my experience has been that you have to be prepared to lose 10% of your client base. Now you might think, well, that's not good. No, it's not. It sounds terrible, but that's the reality. The reason is businesses open and close, they go bankrupt, shops, retail, consolidate, they move locations. So potentially you're going to lose some clients. And sometimes they just love the previous guy more than you. That's the reality. But that's not going to put you off. Knowing that, you realize that even though there's that natural attrition of clients, you're still going to develop, because as much as someone moves out of a building and closes down, someone's going to move into that location. And there's your potential client that you can talk to. So that's some of the advantages and disadvantages of buying a business outright. The third area, and I know window cleaners have been very successful in this, is they've just started cold calling. They've got their equipment, they've got their registration, and they've just door knocked store after store, home after home, endeavouring to build clients. Now, I've done that with both commercial and residential properties. It's not my favourite part. Cold calling is not my favourite part of getting clients, but it's an essential part. And some window cleaners, I know a window cleaner in Sydney, in Australia, made it his full-time job for 2 weeks, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, to cold call. And he built up a window cleaning business that was sufficient for his needs, purely from cold calling. The only investment he made was in equipment and his time. So it can work. So if you've got a gift of the gab, if you think you've got some sales techniques and some ability to be able to promote your service and start a business that way, you may be very successful in establishing a business. So what were those 3 different areas? Franchising, buying a business outright, cold calling and starting from scratch. One has high outlay, one has instant income with a few things that come along with that, and others it takes some time to get started. But once you get started and you develop a loyal client base, they stay with you for some time. So in review of this first video, let's ask this question again. Why are you getting into window cleaning? Is it your side hustle? Something you just want to do for a few hours each week? Or is this a full-time gig? If it's a full-time gig, understand and develop a business plan as to what you want to achieve in the next 5 years, what you want to accomplish with your business. Whether it's a franchise model, whether it's a cold calling model that you start from scratch, whether it's one that you buy a business outright and build on top of that. Any one of those can be successful if you have a plan, if you have a direction you're going to take. So I hope that helped you just to start thinking about your motive and your methodology in getting a business started. In our next video, I'd like to talk to you about government registration, registering for GST, the Goods and Services Tax, and some aspects with regard to digital platforms for accounting and invoicing. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you'd like to subscribe, just tick that little button down there, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Feel free to ask any questions. You can either direct message me through my Instagram or Facebook page, or you can leave a question possibly on the comments section of this video. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch up soon. Take care.